My brothers, the reality around the Philadelphia Eagles right now is shaped not only by what this team is doing, but also by what is happening around them inside the NFC East. And that context matters as we head into a crucial stretch. Washington made it official this week when head coach Dan Quinn announced that rookie quarterback Jayden Daniels is being shut down for the remainder of the 2025 season. Daniels has not been cleared for contact after dealing with a dislocated elbow, an injury that originally occurred back on November 2nd against Seattle and was aggravated again when he returned on December 7th versus Minnesota. The Commanders held out hope that he might be able to come back, even after being eliminated from playoff contention, but with games against the Eagles and then Dallas in a tight 5-day window, the decision was made to prioritize his long-term health. That decision directly impacts the Eagles because it means that for the second straight game, Philadelphia will face a former Eagles backup quarterback. Marcus Mariota will start for Washington when they host the Eagles on Saturday evening on Fox. This isn't just another divisional game. It's the first of two meetings in a 3-week span between rivals who were battling for the NFC Championship not long ago. With a win on Saturday, the Eagles have a chance to make history by becoming the first team to win consecutive NFC East titles since Philadelphia itself accomplished that feat from 2001 through 2004. That alone should tell you how much is on the line. Mariota is a veteran presence, and his numbers this season show a quarterback who can manage a game if given opportunities. He has completed 62% of his passes for 1,600 yards, with 10 touchdowns and 7 interceptions, good for an 87.0 quarterback rating. This isn't a situation where the Eagles can walk in expecting a walkover. Divisional games never work that way, especially against a quarterback who understands this organization and the intensity of these matchups. While the focus externally might be on Washington's quarterback situation, inside the Eagles locker room there's another story unfolding that speaks to resilience, toughness, and second chances. Britton Covey is back, not just on the roster, but as a legitimate weapon in the return game. His journey to get here has been anything but simple. Signed as a rookie free agent in 2022 out of Utah, Covey earned his way onto the roster and steadily grew into his role. By 2023, he wasn't just good, he was one of the most productive punt returners in the entire league, leading the NFL with 417 punt return yards and posting league-best numbers in explosive returns across every meaningful category. Then came 2024, when Covey finally started carving out a role in the wide receiver rotation, only to suffer a broken shoulder late in September. He tried to come back late in the season, but the injury never fully healed, and he spent the remainder of the year on injured reserve during the Super Bowl 59 run. After the season, as an unrestricted free agent, he signed with the Rams looking for a fresh start. That opportunity didn't last long. He didn't make the 53-man roster and, just 2 days later, he was back in Philadelphia on the practice squad. Now, he's back on the 53-man roster, and he's making an impact again. Against the Chargers on Monday night, Covey averaged 18 yards on 3 punt returns and consistently gave the Eagles positive field position. That matters. Field position matters. Momentum matters. And Covey brings an edge that teammates notice immediately. His mindset hasn't changed. He talks openly about never hesitating, about always getting north and south, about getting up faster than the defender who just hit him. That mentality is why special teams coordinator Michael Clay can jokingly call him a psychopath in meetings and mean it as a compliment. Covey believes he's the best player he's ever been, stronger, healthier, and more explosive. He's added weight, hit his max speed in practice, and feels fully connected with his unit. Teammates see it too, calling him a beast and a warrior as they walk past. For a team chasing another division title and looking to sharpen every phase of the game, having a return man who can flip the field and inspire energy is not a small thing. It's part of how teams win in December and January. With Washington adjusting its plans, Mariota under center, and the Eagles seeing key contributors like Covey seize another opportunity, everything feels interconnected as this next game approaches. How confident are you in the Eagles taking advantage of this moment, and what does this matchup mean to you as a fan? What stands out as this matchup gets closer is how the Eagles are positioning themselves mentally and structurally for what this stretch represents. This is not just about one Saturday night game or one quarterback starting on the other sideline. It's about control, maturity, and execution at a point in the season where nothing is given and everything has to be taken. The fact that Washington is turning to Marcus Mariota again only reinforces the reality that the Eagles must approach this with discipline, not emotion. Mariota has seen this league for a long time. He understands protections. He understands how to avoid catastrophic mistakes when the game stays within reach. And he has shown this season that he can move the ball when defenses get careless. From the Eagles' perspective, this is where preparation separates good teams from teams that finish the job. Divisional games carry history, and both sides are aware of what happened the last time these teams were fighting deep into January. The Eagles know that a win here doesn't just add another mark in the standings, it places them in rare company inside the NFC East. Winning consecutive division titles has not been done lightly in this division, and the fact that the last time it happened it was Philadelphia from 2001 to 2004 only adds weight to what is at stake. At the same time, the internal storylines matter just as much as the external ones. Covey's resurgence is a perfect example of how this roster is responding to adversity. His path back to meaningful snaps was not guaranteed. After the shoulder injury, after time on injured reserve, after leaving and returning on the practice squad, there was no promise that he would be more than depth. Instead, he has turned special teams into a spark again. Every return now feels like it has purpose, like it can tilt the field by 10 or 15 yards, and over the course of a game that changes how an offense calls plays and how aggressive a defense can be. Covey's approach reflects something deeper within this team. He talks about intention, about decisiveness, about never hesitating because hesitation gets you hurt in this league. That mindset shows up not only in how he runs, but in how he prepares and how he carries himself. When he says he feels like a weapon, that's not arrogance, that's understanding his role. Special teams players rarely get headlines, but in December football, they win hidden battles. A short field can swing momentum faster than any scripted opening drive. There's also something important about the way teammates respond to players like Covey. When tight ends and linebackers casually label him a beast or a warrior, that tells you the locker room notices effort and toughness. Those details matter when games tighten and margins shrink. The Eagles are not reinventing themselves right now. They are reinforcing what they already believe in: accountability, effort, and execution across all three phases. Looking across the sideline, Washington's decision to shut down Jayden Daniels underscores the contrast between the two organizations at this moment. Daniels showed flashes when healthy and earned recognition for what he accomplished previously, but injuries reshaped his season. Washington chose to protect their future, even if it meant conceding short-term competitiveness. The Eagles, meanwhile, are fully engaged in the present, chasing something tangible and historic. That's why this game cannot be approached casually. Mariota's experience, the divisional familiarity, and the compressed schedule Washington is dealing with all create variables that demand focus. The Eagles' defense must stay sound, the offense must value possessions, and special teams must continue to provide an edge. Nothing here suggests a shortcut. What it does suggest is an opportunity for the Eagles to assert who they are and what they expect to accomplish. As this story continues to unfold, the Eagles are not relying on hype or external noise. They're leaning on preparation, on players earning roles the hard way, and on understanding the weight of what a division title truly means in this city. If you're watching this unfold as a fan, you're seeing a team that understands the moment and is trying to meet it head on. If you're enjoying this breakdown and want to keep following every layer of this Eagles story, make sure you're subscribed to the channel, hit that like button to support the content, and keep watching because there's much more to come on the screen right now. What also deserves attention is how moments like this reveal the true depth of a roster over time. Seasons are rarely linear, and the Eagles' ability to reinsert players like Covey into meaningful roles speaks to organizational patience and clarity. Nothing about his return feels rushed or symbolic. It feels earned. Every rep on special teams, every hard cut upfield, every willingness to take contact without hesitation reinforces why coaches trust him again. That trust is built quietly, far from headlines, but it shows up on game days when field position flips and momentum swings without warning. This is where the Eagles separate themselves mentally. They understand that playoff positioning, division titles, and postseason success are not secured by highlight plays alone, but by consistency in the details. Washington's situation at quarterback is a reminder of how quickly circumstances can change in this league. One injury, one setback, and a season can shift direction. The Eagles are responding by tightening their approach rather than loosening it. Facing a veteran quarterback like Marcus Mariota demands communication on defense, discipline in coverage, and awareness of situational football. There is no room for assuming mistakes will come naturally. The broader picture here is that the Eagles are operating with urgency, but not panic. They recognize what history is within reach, yet they're not speaking about it openly. Instead, it shows through preparation, through players like Covey embracing roles that many overlook, and through a collective understanding that December football defines reputations in this city. Fans feel it, players feel it, and opponents certainly sense it when Philadelphia walks into a divisional matchup with everything aligned. This continuation of the story isn't about predicting outcomes or manufacturing drama. It's about observing how the Eagles are navigating a critical phase with intention. They are not distracted by who is unavailable on the other sideline or by narratives outside the building. They are focused on execution, health, and stacking the kind of performances that carry weight beyond 1 week. That mindset is how division banners are earned and how locker rooms stay unified when pressure rises. As this season moves forward and these games begin to define legacies, the conversation around this team will only grow louder. What matters most is how they respond internally, play by play, snap by snap, phase by phase. That's what will ultimately tell the story of this Eagles team. Now I want to hear from you. How do you feel about the way the Eagles are handling this moment, and what does this stretch mean to you as a fan? Another layer to this moment is how the Eagles are reinforcing their identity without forcing anything unnatural. There is no sense of overreaction inside this team, no attempt to chase style points. What you see instead is a group leaning into habits that travel well in December and beyond. Preparation, repetition, and clarity of role are becoming the defining traits of this stretch, and that is often what separates teams that simply reach the postseason from those that are remembered. When you look at how the Eagles are approaching opponents right now, it's clear they are treating every snap as part of a larger picture. Washington's adjustment at quarterback is acknowledged, but it is not being magnified. The Eagles know that respect for the opponent is part of respecting the game itself. Veteran quarterbacks like Marcus Mariota survive in this league because they understand timing, spacing, and how to exploit mental lapses. That reality forces the Eagles to stay sharp defensively and to avoid giving life to a team that has nothing to lose. At the same time, internal competition continues to elevate the roster. Covey's presence on special teams is symbolic of something larger. Opportunity inside this building is still earned daily. His story resonates because it reflects the grind that so many players live through without guarantees. He didn't return to this roster on reputation or sentiment. He returned because he showed value, toughness, and consistency. That sends a message across the locker room that performance still matters, regardless of circumstance or timing. This stretch of the season also brings clarity for fans. You start to see which players respond to pressure and which units thrive when the margin for error disappears. For the Eagles, special teams tightening up, defensive focus remaining steady, and situational awareness improving are all signs of a team that understands what's coming next. Nothing about this feels accidental. It feels deliberate. The beauty and the tension of this moment is that everything is still earned week by week. History is close enough to feel, but far enough away to demand humility. The Eagles are walking that line right now, aware of the opportunity but grounded in the work. That balance is difficult to maintain, and it's often what defines successful seasons in Philadelphia. What becomes clearer with each passing week is that this Eagles team is being shaped as much by restraint as by aggression. There is a calm confidence developing, one that doesn't rely on noise or external validation. Inside the building, the message appears consistent. Nothing is finished, nothing is assumed, and nothing is handed out. That tone matters, especially now, when the temptation to look ahead can quietly undermine good teams. You can feel that awareness in how the Eagles are handling situational football. Close games, divisional familiarity, and the weight of expectations all test discipline. This is where lapses usually happen, but Philadelphia is emphasizing control. Control of tempo, control of field position, control of emotions. Covey's role, again, fits perfectly into that philosophy. He is not asked to do everything, only to do his job with precision. When he flips the field by a handful of yards, that's control. When he secures the ball and finishes runs decisively, that's control. Those moments rarely dominate highlight reels, but they quietly dictate outcomes. The same principle applies across the roster. Players understand that this phase of the season exposes weaknesses quickly. Any lack of focus is punished. Any assumption becomes a mistake. Facing a team like Washington, even with changes at quarterback, demands full attention because divisional opponents know tendencies, formations, and rhythms. There are no surprises left, only execution. That reality forces the Eagles to stay honest with themselves. What's also interesting is how this stretch is reinforcing leadership dynamics. Veterans recognize the window in front of them. Younger players are learning what it takes to sustain success when the stakes rise. The message is not about one game or one opponent, but about standards. Standards don't change because of injuries on the other sideline or standings in the division. Standards are upheld because that's how winning cultures survive pressure. For fans, this is the part of the season where every detail feels heavier. Every snap carries consequence. Every decision is scrutinized. The Eagles are operating within that environment without appearing rattled, and that is not accidental. It's built through repetition, accountability, and trust within the locker room. Trust that everyone will handle their role, even when that role doesn't come with headlines. My brothers, the reality around the Philadelphia Eagles right now is shaped not only by what this team is doing, but also by what is happening around them inside the NFC East. And that context matters as we head into a crucial stretch. Washington made it official this week when head coach Dan Quinn announced that rookie quarterback Jayden Daniels is being shut down for the remainder of the 2025 season. Daniels has not been cleared for contact after dealing with a dislocated elbow, an injury that originally occurred back on November 2nd against Seattle and was aggravated again when he returned on December 7th versus versus Minnesota. The Commanders held out hope that he might be able to come back, even after being eliminated from playoff contention, but with games against the Eagles and then Dallas in a tight 5-day window, the decision was made to prioritize his long-term health. That decision directly impacts the Eagles, because it means that for the second straight game, Philadelphia will face a former Eagles backup quarterback. Marcus Mariota will start for Washington when they host the Eagles on Saturday evening on Fox. This isn't just another divisional game. It's the first of 2 meetings in a 3-week span between rivals who were battling for the NFC Championship not long ago. With a win on Saturday, the Eagles have a chance to make history by becoming the first team to win consecutive NFC East titles since Philadelphia itself accomplished that feat from 2001 through 2004. That alone should tell you how much is on the line. Mariota is a veteran presence, and his numbers this season show a quarterback who can manage a game if given opportunities. He has completed 62% of his passes for 1,600 yards, with 10 touchdowns and 7 interceptions, good for an 87.0 quarterback rating. This isn't a situation where the Eagles can walk in expecting a walkover. Divisional games never work that way, especially against a quarterback who understands this organization and the intensity of these matchups. While the focus externally might be on Washington's quarterback situation, inside the Eagles' locker room there's another story unfolding that speaks to resilience, toughness, and second chances. Covey is back, not just on the roster, but as a legitimate weapon in the return game. His journey to get here has been anything but simple. Signed as a rookie free agent in 2022 out of Utah, Covey earned his way onto the roster and steadily grew into his role. By 2023, he wasn't just good, he was one of the most productive punt returners in the entire league, leading the NFL with 417 punt return yards and posting league-best numbers in explosive returns across every meaningful category. Then came 2024, when Covey finally started carving out a role in the wide receiver rotation, only to suffer a broken shoulder late in September. He tried to come back late in the season, but the injury never fully healed, and he spent the remainder of the year on injured reserve during the Super Bowl 59 run. After the season, as an unrestricted free agent, he signed with the Rams looking for a fresh start. That opportunity didn't last long. He didn't make the 53-man roster and, just 2 days later, he was back in Philadelphia.